Hey everybody, welcome once again to the Football Fandemic. We are heading into week 16, and that playoff picture is getting ever more clear. We're going to talk about what teams might be poised for a far-reaching playoff run, which teams might not make it, here on the Football Fandemic. Josh, it is that time of year, week 16 of 17 games, 18 weeks because of the bye weeks. We are heading into the last little stretch. And what's crazy at this time of year is how many teams could still be in the playoffs and how many could have a top 5 pick. I'm thinking of the Bears. The Bears could have a top 5 pick, or well, they already have a top 5 pick because they got Carolina Panthers, right? Which are probably number 1 overall, but they themselves could have a number 5 pick or still make the playoffs. Still. Same with the Packers. Same with, I'm trying to think of who else was in that NFC down there at the bottom. We got the Bears, the Giants, the Packers, the Falcons. They all could still make it, or they all could be out, and some of them with pretty high picks. So it'll be interesting. That's just NFC too. I haven't even looked at the AFC there, but we're going to talk about all of that and more. But I guess as far as our news for today, what could be the big news around the NFL? That is Falcons are going to be starting your guy from the past, Taylor Heineke. And guess who gets to play the Falcons this week? The Colts. That's right. So I'm going to be watching that up close and personal. I'm going to see if Taylor Heineke is actually any good or if he has lost it, if he has rust. Of course, Colts aren't going to know exactly how to prepare for him with this team. They can look back at film with the Commanders, but that's a whole different game. So it'll be interesting to see how the Colts and Shane Steichen plan for that one. But Falcons starting Taylor Heineke is about the only news. There's got to be more news than that.
Just something that came up actually.
Here we go.
Like 5-10 minutes ago, maybe. Highly regarded offensive coordinator looking. One of the highly regarded head coaches coming. Next season, offensive coordinator for the Lions, Ben Johnson. Has been via Josina Anderson. I have been told around the league. I've been told personnel around the league are discussing their awareness that some owners have been told by Ben Johnson that his asking price is at least or around $15 million a year for a head coaching job. So maybe a little bit of tampering, maybe not.
Or maybe he's just like spouting stuff into the universe. Hey, by the way, I just think I would need to make this much. I don't know who he would be saying that to, but I guess as far as news go, we do know that the Bengals won't have their wide receiver Chase this week. He's out versus the Steelers, but does that really make a difference? The Steelers looked so bad last week against the Colts. The Bengals should still be okay, but Bengals are one of those teams right now fighting hard for a playoff spot, for one of those wild card spots. They're definitely not going to beat out the Ravens in their division, but who are one of the top 2 teams. We're going to definitely talk about them a little later here. We do have the big matchup coming this week of the 2 number 1 teams, which is kind of cool at this point in the season to have the 2 number 1 teams facing off. Again, I guarantee you we're going to talk about that a little later when we get talking about marquee games. I can't think of any other big news, so we're just going to kind of jump into the rest of the program. We've been doing our predictions, guys. We told you at the beginning of the year we made these predictions. You can never know how these are going to turn out because, as we know, injuries happen that we didn't expect. Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow. Things happen with teams that we thought would be horrible. Tampa Bay. We looked at Baker Mayfield and thought that was going to be a mess, and they've actually been doing well.
Looking like a Pro Bowl quarterback, to be honest.
He's looking. He's looking good. They're still in the playoff hunt, and
they're
that's
the
all.
4th seed right now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they are. That's right. They're in the playoffs at this point. So a lot of stuff like that happened. But what does our record and our prediction record look like? Even though that was before the season started, what's it look like at this point?
We are still positive. We had a very strong week this week, actually. We went 11-5 this week. Our
11 and
game,
5. That is the best. That is ties the best we've ever done.
I believe so.
All right.
Yeah. Let me look what our games are missed or were missed. The games we got wrong, which I mean, it is only 5 games, so I'll run down through it quick. We predicted the Chargers over the Raiders, which that was a blowout.
That was a way blowout, and you know what? Those two teams both are just not great. So when you see 63 points or whatever put up by the Raiders, and you think, "Oh my goodness, they're a good team," well, you have to look at their competition. It was the Chargers, and because of that, oh, this is news. There was another coach firing. You guys all said there would be no more, and I said there's going to be one more. And guess what? There was right after this game, the Chargers let go of their GM and their head coach, gone. So that was Tom Telesco was their GM and Brandon Staley, coach, both fired.
I just didn't look that far back. I was in a scramble for things.
That's right. So that's big news. And, you know, we still don't know if that's the last one. At this point, with only 3 weeks, you know, I guess 3 games, yeah, for everybody yet to go. Probably they'll wait till the end of the season because what good does 3 games do? Now, I've talked tremendously about how Washington should fire Ron Rivera and see what Eric Bieniemy has, but at this point in the season, I don't know if you can really see what Eric Bieniemy has. I think they wasted that opportunity. I think they should have fired him 2 weeks ago and given Eric Bieniemy a good 5-week run to see what he could do. But at this point, we may not have any more firings till after the season. I guarantee you there's going to be some after the season, of which Bill Belichick, we said, might be one. Ron Rivera, what's this? Eberflus up in Chicago, up there, right up there. See him? And others who may be on that chopping block. But anyway, we did have that firing this last week. I'd forgotten about that. But even though the Raiders won 63 to whatever it was like really bad. They were facing a pretty bad looking team. We thought the Chargers would be better this year. We thought they had to be better this year or he would be fired. And guess what? We were right. They weren't better. He was fired. And that's in the books.
What's crazy is amongst all the coaching firings, Josh McDaniels also got fired a couple weeks ago. But that brings to my point that Antonio Pierce, the interim head coach for the Raiders, looks like he's solidifying himself as the new head coach for the Raiders, honestly. Everybody in the locker room loves him. And he's had some up and downs.
How many games have they won? That was his first win, right?
I don't know. When was he fired? What's his called name fired?
I think that might have been his first win as the interim head coach. I could be wrong. I don't know if I would say solidified himself yet.
He's up there.
He's showing well, but you know, when it comes to the end of the year and these owners are looking around at all the stars, all the coaches that people are excited about, they get excited too. And often that guy they elevate is not the guy they stick with.
They fired McDaniels October 31st. So a day after the Lions beat them 26-14.
Halloween.
After that, they named interim head coach Antonio Pierce. They won against the Jets, won against the Giants, lost to the Dolphins by 7 points, lost to the Chiefs by 14, lost to the Raiders by 3, and beat the Chargers by 42?
50.
Yeah.
40.
So he's not doing bad.
I guess they've won 3. This is his third win.
Yeah,
3-3.
And they have the Colts, Chiefs, and Raiders next. Or not in order, or Colts, Chiefs, and Broncos, sorry.
Okay. Well, I hope they get at least one loss out of that. Colts. We'll see. Okay.
But back to our games we missed. We went, like we mentioned, missed the Raiders, which brought up Brandon Staley.
That's one.
We missed the Texans. They lost. We predicted the Titans would win. They lost it. They won in overtime. The Titans lost in overtime.
The Texans won. Titans lost. Right? Yeah. I was really hoping the Titans would beat them, by the way, because
But even then, the Jaguars made up for it because we predicted they would win, but they lost, and that makes all 3 of you guys tied for the AFC South.
3 teams, not the Titans, but the other 3 teams, all tied for the lead of the AFC South, all at 8-6. Right now, the Jags have it by means of tiebreakers, head-to-head stuff. But Trevor Lawrence is still in concussion protocol. There's another piece of news. We're just finding the nuggets here and there. Yep. Trevor Lawrence is still in concussion protocol and may not be playing against, who is it they play this week? Browns?
Looked at no, the Texans play the Browns. I just looked at it and I was like, that might be my game.
All right, I'm looking it up
I'll
here.
find it. It
Hold
is.
on, no, I'm gonna find it. You're gonna find it first because I'm going slow.
Oh, it is my marquee
It's
game.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay against Baker Mayfield. We were just talking about looking Pro Bowlish. Tampa Bay may win that one, and Jacksonville may fall, meaning AFC South may have a new number one. Both Texans and Colts are fighting for it. Both of those also at 8-6. Ooh, we're going to talk about all those games, though. We're going to talk about all those games. Okay, so that was our third wrong one, right? We had the Raiders. We had, I've already forgotten the ones you said.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
Texans and Jaguars.
Yep, and then the Chargers. But then the most surprising of them all is, which we'll get into in a minute, because this is now getting placed in the Blake Harris corner because Brandon is not here, but the Buccaneers dominated the Packers. And then we had the Rams. We had the Commanders beating the Rams, which did not happen.
The Commanders beating the Rams did not happen, but the Packers losing. Ooh. Brandon Colmark conveniently not here after a loss again. He doesn't like to come on those post-loss shows. You notice he hasn't been on a lot this year. What? Am I talking trash on the Packers? I am not. I'm talking trash on Brandon Colmark, but we love him. We know he was just busy, right? Let's see. What? That was our predictions. We are at 123 to 105 for the year. That was a good week for us. 11-5 popped us back up. We may be able to stay positive for the year.
Maybe. We have 2 weeks left. Or 3 weeks.
All right. Let's go back and look at some of the past week's games here, starting with our own. This time we're going to start with your Commanders because we always start with my Colts. So let's start with your Commanders. We'll kind of hit Brandon's and then we'll end on the Colts.
Commanders, I mean, I didn't expect them to win. I mean, I predicted them last week when we had our predictions to win or to lose 31-14. They ended up losing like 27-20 or something like that. So it was closer than I expected, but
what was the big news of the game though?
2020, sorry. Yeah, Jacoby Brissett was starting, and I'm going to say this right now. He came in, all right, and he looked.
Wait, did he start or did he come in?
He came in like the
I was going to say, Howell was benched, right?
Yeah, he was benched. Let's be honest. But I'm going to say this right now, and this might be this is probably a statement that a lot of Commanders fans will agree with, but maybe not a lot of outside fans will agree with. But Sam Howell was not the problem in this game. I'm going to be honest with you. Defense really let everything down. And, if you look at Sam Howell's stat line, you're going to say, oh, yeah, he didn't do great at it either. But we took him out whenever our left tackle and our starting left tackle and our starting center were injured. So we put Brissett in, I'd imagine for safety precautions. At least that's what Ron Rivera said. Not sure how Ron Rivera operates anymore, honestly. Maybe he has dementia. I don't know. But maybe he's just losing it all. Seems like he's losing it all. But Brissett came in and he did really well. And for people saying that he only had 120, he missed 2 passes, had 2 touchdowns, and had about 22 yards more than Sam Howell did. So 226 passing yards between the two of them for the whole game is not a pretty stat. But if you're wanting to see how Sam Howell develops, you're gonna have to take him out in these certain situations where the offensive line sucks. I know he's been developing with it or dealing with it for the whole season, but at some point, you got to save him for the rest of the season, even though you have nothing to play for. You just got to see what he has.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
I am not going to lie to you. I've been reading about your Commanders in the national media, and there seem to be a lot of voices out there that believe that Josh Harris and whoever the coach will be, because they all believe Ron Rivera will be fired, which I think we do too. They believe that Sam Howell is not the answer and will not be the quarterback next year, that as high a pick as you guys have, that the owner is going to look for something new. And just like you guys moved on from Heineke, you're going to move on from Howell. What do you have to say about that?
I was going to get to that after I get to the game, so I will bring that back up in a second.
Okay.
But, Terry McLaurin was my MVP, 6 receptions, 141 yards. Of course, they all came in garbage time where the defense was playing, the Rams defense was playing prevent. Mm-hmm. But going back to what Matthew said, I just wanted to finish that off. I've really come to the realization that maybe Sam Howell, it takes time to develop as a quarterback, and you can't develop with this terrible offensive line. I don't know what the offensive line for the 98 Colts looked like, but Peyton Manning did not look great at all. And he came in with a new coach in Tony Dungy. a probably new offense coordinator, new quarterback coach, whatnot. And he developed to be one of the best, probably the greatest quarterback of all time, in my opinion. And so it takes time, and I'm ready for that time. I am honestly, in my opinion, I'll do what I am ready for whatever the new owner, new manager, new coach wants to do, whether it's draft a quarterback or whether it's keep Sam Howell for another year, rebuild the offensive line or whatnot. I'm all for it. I'm a fan of the team. I'm all for whatever they do to help the team succeed and help me be happy about my team. But um, I'm saying right now, if I were the GM, I would rebuild the offensive line, a lot of the offensive line. I would get a new. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I get a new offensive coordinator. If because I like Matthew said a couple weeks ago, if Ron Rivera is fired and they're looking for new offensive coordinator or new head coach, and Eric Bieniemy isn't chosen or isn't considered, I'd imagine he's gone too. So you might as well just ditch both of them at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You need new defensive pieces. You need new people who want to be there. Need a new defensive coordinator that knows how to work, because we have a star-studded team. We got Pro Bowlers and from past years at least, Pro Bowls and All Pros all over the field, and on the defensive line, of course, we traded 2 of them. We need to rebuild that defense a little bit, so that Sam Howell is not always on the field throwing 400 yards a game because it's in garbage time, or it's because the defense let the team score in 2 minutes or whatnot. I'm gonna say that if Sam Howell's the quarterback next year, I won't be upset, because you gotta give you're not gonna. I don't think this team needs to be a one and done. I don't want to go through another quarterback carousel of this guy doesn't work one season. If Peyton Manning was given up after what was it, like 15 touchdowns and 31 interceptions, the world would go crazy. You know what I mean? I mean, back then they
It
probably
would be worse off, wouldn't it?
exactly. I mean, understandable. This guy's a 5th round pick compared to Peyton Manning, first overall, first round pick. So there is a big difference. But Sam Howell was graded at a 1st or 2nd round pick and surprisingly fell to the 5th round for some reason. Maybe because teams didn't need a quarterback or whatnot. But so he has a lot of people see him as having that skill. We just need to build around him. We have the weapons. We have Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, who was a free agent. Maybe he's gone. Jahan Dotson. We have 2 great running backs, and we just need to rebuild that offensive line. I would love to see Sam Howell behind a great offensive line with a pretty good defense and a competent enough coach and competent enough offense coordinator to work around and see how we can do before I make my opinion. But my opinion right now is whatever the new GM or whatever the new head coach decide to do, I'm all for it, because they have a better mindset than I do. They'd have a better football mindset and
You
operations
just
like
want
that.
to be able to cheer for your team.
Exactly. I don't care
Yeah.
who's quarterback. And I still trust Sam Howell. There's guys going to be road bumps everywhere, even not in a football career, even in life. There's going to be road bumps, whether it's financial or whether it's job career wise or whatnot. And so everybody goes through it, and I'm ready to see him succeed. And I'm also ready for my team to win. So honestly, whatever the team does, I'm all for it.
Well, we will watch and see how those things unfold. But Josh would be for rebuilding the offensive line and then getting your defense. By the way, Montez Sweat up in Chicago, he's looking really good.
Yep, he is.
That was a former commander, by the way, traded in the middle of the year. But anyway, yeah, we'll have to see what happens as this year comes to a close. This will make for a good offseason for you. You'll be up there in the high picks, just like the Colts were last year. Colts were at number 4. Where are you at right now?
5. Oh, actually 4. Same thing.
You're actually number 4. We ended up with Anthony Richardson and some excitement, even though we haven't got to see him play much this year. By the way, some news with him. His shoulder is healing better than expected, according to him. I don't expect him to be throwing till spring anyway, but just throw that nugget out there. Let's talk about the Colts a little bit, though. Colts this week beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were playing with their quarterback, Mitch Trubisky, so there was part of me that thought that could be the outcome. But even with that, during the game, we got down 13-0 early because of some mistakes. And I was worried, but they ended up not flinching and coming back and beating them quite handily. And, we went into that with, so obviously Anthony Richardson's been hurt, and we've been using Gardner Minshew, our backup quarterback, who has been great, coming in as a backup quarterback, coming with Shane Steichen from the Philadelphia Eagles. But we also had Jonathan Taylor out. We also lost Zach Moss early in the game. We also lost Michael Pittman in the game, who is in concussion protocol right now, but progressing, and we're hoping he can play this coming week. By the way, Steelers guy who hit him was his year is ended. He's done for the year. They
Michael Pittman? Oh, Devontae Casey. Or
yeah,
Keanu
the
O'Neal,
guy who
whatever.
hit
Yeah.
Michael Pittman. What's the word I'm looking for? Not suspended. Is it suspended?
Yeah, suspended him.
Yeah, suspended him for the year. Done. Anyway, and it's not just for that Michael Pittman hit. It's because he's been in violation of that for a few times before this. Anyway, so the Colts were down like a lot of starters, a lot of people hurt and out, and they came back and won that game. And I gave my MVP this week to Trey Sermon. You may be like, who? That's right.
I know Trey Sermon.
Trey Sermon, our backup running back, right? So
yeah, I think he's the backup.
Yeah, there's another guy behind him who also played, and they both did fairly well. But I think that speaks to the offensive line doing a good job against the defense that was, what's his name?
Cam Hayward?
Watt? Huh?
Or TJ Watt.
Yeah, TJ Watt, man, taken after Gardner Minshew, but our offensive line still did a good job of opening up holes for our running back. And there was one time, I think it was 16 plays in a row, maybe it was 13. We just ran the ball 13 or 16 times in a row down their throat, and it was Trey Sermon just running and running. And so I gave him my MVP, but it could have been Gardner Minshew because even with all the people out, and by the way, he threw two what should have been receptions in the end zone, and the guy dropped them each time, and it could have been two more touchdowns, and he had to not lose his mind because of that and kind of get thrown off kilter. He stayed steady. We won that game, so that was good to see. And we play the Falcons this coming week, so we've got Taylor Heineke. Now they lost last week to the Panthers, right? Is that who?
Yes, right.
Which is a one-win team. So my hope is that they're looking bad and the Colts get another win. Again, I know, if you go against all really easy teams, when you get in the playoffs, you're going to quickly go out. But I would like to make the playoffs since we're so far from a good pick. Why not at least be known as a playoff team with a backup quarterback and all that stuff? Anyway, Colts this last week, I was proud of them. Watch that game. That was really the only game I got to watch this last week, which was kind of sad. I mean, it was super busy with stuff preparing for the Christmas upcoming. I told my wife just the other day, I'm like, hey, Christmas Eve is a Sunday. That means there's going to be football and the Colts are going to play. And she's like, oh, and I'm like, but sweetie, we're going to enjoy that. That's early in the day. Mm-hmm. There'll still be time for Christmas Eve stuff that night and stuff. So anyway, Colts had a good game. We're going to talk about the Packers in between there. The Packers this last week, what happened with them, Josh? We'll let you report for Brandon on the Packers.
I'm not going to try to impersonate Brandon because it seems like you did better last time. So, but basically, just put a summary of it. Baker Mayfield performed a masterclass against the Packers defense, and
when he says masterclass, he means perfect QB rating.
Perfect QB rating
at Lambeau.
22 for 28, 381 yards and 4 touchdowns, along with actually never mind, -2 rushing yards. So I was gonna say rushing yards, but he performed a masterclass, and a lot of Packers fans are calling for Joe Barry to be fired. Even some fans are calling for Matt LaFleur to be fired. But Brandon, I don't know his opinion about Matt LaFleur, but Brandon is against.
I can pretty much guarantee you he still likes Matt LaFleur, but he has hated Joe Barry for a long time, and
I tried to warn him.
I
did try to warn him. I tried to warn him. Being a Redskins Commanders fan, he's like, I'll give it a chance. And now he's coming back, and he's like, yeah, I don't want to break Joe Barry. But I asked him how he felt about Joe Barry, and he says just because Matt LaFleur said in a press conference Monday, he was like, we're gonna evaluate things at the end of the season. So maybe that happens. They fire him at the end of the season, maybe not. But Brandon says, surprisingly, he said, I'm guessing Brandon's saying this because he thinks they're out of the playoff race overall now. I mean, they're only a game behind, but he says they should keep Joe Barry probably to get a better draft pick. But, I said.
Brandon's saying they should keep Joe Barry?
For the rest of the season, yeah.
Oh, for the rest. I'm like, not next season. He can't be saying that. No.
No. Yeah. But, the Packers lost 34-20. Brandon predicted them to win. I honestly thought they would win also. But like we said in our season predictions, the Buccaneers keep surprising us. So the Packers, or he predicted the Packers to win 28-24, and they lost 34-20. So, I mean, kind of close. Different teams won, but overall, I mean, Baker Mayfield is continuing to prove us wrong. Jordan Love seems to be doing all right. Has an up and down game, like Brandon keeps saying every week. It's a roller coaster, and the Packers defense is just not there ever. So
It is hard to call the Packers defense scary when they allow a perfect quarterback rating for the other team.
definitely.
He needs to get in there, pound the table, shake his finger in some faces, whatever he has to do as an owner to say, I demand a better defense. And this is going to start with Joe Barry being gone, somebody else coming in. I mean, they have good pieces on defense.
They got Devondre Campbell, Jonathan Owens, Carrington Valentine's, Carrington Valentine's kind of up and coming as a cornerback. Quay Walker, Kenny Clark, Lucas Van Ness is coming into his own. So Eric Stokes, Rashawn Gary. So they have great pieces. So they just don't have a competent defense coordinator.
So that was the week for the Packers. But who was his MVP? Do you think? Who would you?
He said it was Dontavian Wicks, who had a stat line of. I was actually expecting it to be Jordan Love, honestly, because he didn't perform bad. But Dontavian Wicks was his MVP. He texted me. He said, or us in a group chat, and he said Dontavian Wicks, and his stat line was 6 receptions for 97 yards. So almost a 100-yard game for the rookie. Or the new player. I don't know if he's rookie or not, but
for that guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a moment and turn to the Blake Harris corner. The Blake Harris, any team that's basically not our teams, because both Blake, by the way, Blake is a Cowboys fan who Cowboys are doing well this year. And Brandon Harris, Blake Faith, Brandon Harris, we smash those together because they both seem to have no favorite team or just whatever team is doing well that week. And that's why we call it the Blake Harris corner. In the Blake Harris corner this week, the Eagles continue to be in a rut. We watched a game, them playing who? Seattle Seahawks. And the Seattle Seahawks won at the very last minute, right?
Like a last minute touchdown. Wasn't like last second, game winner, but yeah,
not a walk off. But
I'm just saying, ever since I said that the Eagles were my dark horse, which I truly believe, they've not won a single game. So maybe I'm the reason for that, and I'm glad I'm the reason for that, because as an NFC East rival, I like to see their downfall.
But their downfall means the Cowboys uprising.
Yeah, I guess
that's a tough pill to
swallow.
The
Cowboys, for me, the Eagles are more of a threat in the playoffs if they get there, and the Cowboys are like, I guess it's
they're getting there. Both the Cowboys and the Eagles have already punched a ticket. They're already in. So you're saying the Eagles are going to be a bigger threat in the playoffs than
I feel like Cowboys. If they get things worked out, they will. I still think they're my dark horse, but for me, I think it's more so going back to the Tony Romo days where the Cowboys would always make the playoffs or always go 9-8 or 8-8, 9-7, and they barely miss the playoffs, but they always lose in the playoffs. So that's why I don't see them as they've already been through the downfall. It's like that meme of The Simpsons where the guy walks into the house, puts his hat on the coat coat hanger or whatever, and leaves 2 seconds later, grabs his hat, and that's what the Cowboys are. They make the playoffs. I'll pull the meme up right now if I can find it. But
we know the meme. He walks in, puts his hat up, and takes his hat off, and puts it on, walks out the door.
That's the Cowboys in the playoffs.
That's Grandpa, by the way.
Yep, that's the Cowboys in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I don't see them as a really, they make the playoffs, but they have nothing to be proud of, I guess. And I guess
that's gonna come into effect here a little later when we get talking about the games. So I'm gonna leave that one there. But we're gonna say this: the Bills continue to make a playoff push. The Bills beat the Cowboys. And won. And after they did this, a lot of people were saying exactly like you're saying, that the Cowboys are going to do that thing where they're going to get into the playoffs. They're going to beat a bad wild card team in the first round, and then they're going to be done. And a lot of people already expecting that. Maybe not Jerry Jones. We'll see. But the Bills are continuing to get back into this, and a lot of people begun to write them off because they had lost way more games than we expected them to. This was another one of those that contributed to our low numbers in predictions, because we thought the Bills were going to win pretty much all their games with just a few losses, and they've lost quite a few, but they're back and pushing again hard. So Bills improved, Cowboys got worse, although right now they're still holding the number 2 seed because the Eagles also lost. So that could change this week. We'll see. Browns come back to beat the Bears. Man, that was very close. There was a Hail Mary at the end that bounced into a Bears player's arms and then out of his arms, and then he kicked it, and then a Tampa Bay, was it Tampa? No, who were they playing this last week?
The Browns.
I mean, the Browns. Of course, I just said it. The Browns player grabbed it, and that ended the game. I was hoping the Bears would win that one. One, to make their pick a little worse. Two, because the Browns are one of those teams fighting for the AFC wildcard spots, and so are the Colts. Although the Colts might be able to sneak into a division spot, in which case it doesn't matter. So we'll see. But the Browns did come back, and they have improved to what, 9 wins?
9-6, I believe. 9-5, maybe.
Yeah,
NFL standing. Something like
I think it's 9-5. And yeah, because we got a bunch of teams at 8-6 right now.
9-5. Which
Yep. So Raiders, we already talked about, blow out the Chargers. I mean, big time, blew them out. But again, competition was bad. Let's wait and see what that looks like next week or this week, whoever they play. So that's kind of our Blake Harris corner of some games of note that happened during the week. Now we're going to go on to our preview of upcoming Homer games and other games. The upcoming Colts game this week. Colts, I've kind of been alluding to this all through the podcast. The Colts are playing the Atlanta Falcons, and the big thing is they're starting a new quarterback, Taylor Heineke. We haven't seen him play much, if at all. Did he play at all with the Falcons?
once or twice, one or two games. And so they bench Ritter, went to Heineke, bench Heineke again after May. I don't know if they benched him because he was bad or because Ritter, they thought Ritter was ready again. Ritter came back, bench Ritter again. So I don't think Ritter's the answer. I'm just saying that.
So we've got the Colts playing the Falcons. Really hope this is a Colts win. I'm going to put this as a Colts win, and I'm going to put this one at 31 for the Colts, 21 for the Falcons. 31-21. That's my prediction. And a big thing in this one is Jonathan Taylor is back to full practice, so I think he'll be back. And that O-line was looking good last week. I expect some run game stuff to happen here. I'm hoping Michael Pittman is back from concussion protocol. But more than anything, I want him to be healthy if we end up going to the playoffs. So we'll see what happens with that. And Zach Moss, I think, also did not practice the first day of this week. And so it's good that we have Jonathan Taylor coming back. So, Josh, what do you think about the Commanders at Jets? 2 crazy good teams.
Crazy
head-to-head clash here.
So if you don't know, if none of you know, this game is which I'm guessing it might be my Matthews, but it definitely is mine. Just a little, I guess foreshadowing. This is my manure game. One, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. If the game is on TV, I'm not even watching this because this game is a 32nd ranked defense in the Commanders versus this 32nd ranked offense in the Jets. So this game is in no capacity is a great game at all. So what I expect of this game is I don't expect much. I mean, either the Jets have a pretty good defense, don't have a great offense. We have a pretty okay offense. We don't have a great defense. So this is going to be a back and forth game. And honestly, I have my score prediction here. I'm going to change it a little bit. Yeah, I predict the Commanders win 17-13 just because I don't know who starting quarterback is right now. It could be Trevor. It's not Aaron Rodgers. I don't think they're playing him.
The Jets are out, and they have activated Aaron Rodgers. This should have also been news. He was activated, but they said he will not play this year because they're out.
Figured so.
So he will start practicing again with the team slowly, but he won't be doing anything this year. And the Jets will be playing. You'll probably be playing good old Zach Wilson.
So unless as Zach Wilson performs, a great game like he did against the Texans 2 weeks ago, then I expect this to be a low-scoring 17-13 victory for the Commanders. All right, what do you think? What do you think about the Packers? What do you think there? Let me look who they're playing. Oh, they're playing the Panthers. So what do you think that game goes? How do you think that game goes?
I would say it would be embarrassing to lose to the Panthers. Now, we did just have the Panthers beat. Who did they beat this last week?
The Falcons.
Falcons, right. Somebody called that upset. Which one of you guys called that?
Brandon.
Was that Brandon? Yeah. Brandon called that upset. It would be bad, and Brandon would be very upset if they lost to the Panthers.
Hoping dude, if they lose, by the way, we won't be live streaming next week. If we lose, we won't be here next week to talk about it.
Yep.
We'll just have to post our group chat text or something.
That would give Brandon time to cool off from the anger and sadness and devastation that he would be feeling. I do think the Packers win against the Panthers. I would hope they win against the Panthers next week. It does seem, I've said this before, that sometimes after like a really bad game, the Packers come back and have a good game. And so I anticipate that the Packers are still in the playoff hunt. Am I right? Let's take a look at this.
Yeah, they're like season 9 or seed 9.
Season 9.
Playoff picture. Well, yeah.
Yeah. They are 11 right now. They're in the 11th seed. If they lose this week, they still have a 5% probability of making the playoffs, even if they lose. If they win, they have a 24% chance of making the playoffs. They're currently at 19% with several teams above them. But they are at 6-8. Falcons are at 6-8. Saints are at 7-7. Seahawks are at 7-7. Rams are at 7-7. Vikings are at 7-7. Buccaneers are at 7-7. Now I know those aren't all in their divisions. So what I'm saying is they're not that far out. At 6-8, they're only one game back. Let's look at who's ahead of them. Falcons, hopefully lose to the Colts. Saints, they play tonight versus the Rams. Is that tonight? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's tonight. That's going to be a good game, by the way. They're both at 7-7, and they're both trying to get in the playoffs. But Saints are 7-7, and the Seahawks play Tennessee. Seahawks will probably win that. Saints could lose, Falcons could lose, and Packers could find themselves sitting real close. Now, Rams, Vikings, and Buccaneers all at 7-7. Let's see, Buccaneers play Jacksonville. I want the Buccaneers to win that one, by the way.
Yeah.
Vikings play Detroit. They will probably lose. That's good for them. Rams play New Orleans. Oh, so either Rams or New Orleans, one is going to win. They're going to get closer, I think, with a win. So we'll see. We'll see.
According to this is which is funny because you mentioned the percentages. Mine says 1% off from you probably. Packers lose, 4% chance to make it. Current 18%, and if they win, 24%. But what's funny, why I brought this up, because comparing yours, but the Lions. Out of all teams that have not clinched a playoff berth, so the Dolphins, Chiefs, Jaguars, Browns, Bengals, and Colts, and then the Lions, Buccaneers, Vikings, and Rams, out of the teams that have in the playoffs right now that have not clinched, the
greater than 99% across the board.
Exactly. And then the Dolphins, that if they lose, 97, current 99, greater than 99 if they win. So that's just surprising to me that the Dolphins, who are usually, they're either up to par or sometimes better, depending on who they play, than the Lions, have a lower percentage across the board than the Lions or than the Dolphins, which is kind of funny because I guess
on my board, it's only if they lose. They have a 98% chance if they lose, 99 for the other two.
Mine is 97 if they lose.
So yeah, it's great to see the Lions, who we, by the way, were predicting would be good this year, and they look like they are good. We just want to see them finish strong and like really come in as one of the top teams in their conference. So, right now their conference is definitely the tougher conference, with 49ers, Cowboys, and Eagles all, being above them in wins. But, well, not all above them in wins. Both Cowboys and Eagles tie them in wins, but since they're in the same division, anyway, they're one of the 10-4 teams. They're definitely looking cream of the crop, and so we're excited for the Lions.
Oh yeah.
All right, where are we here? We have looked at my upcoming game. What about you? We've looked at the Packers' upcoming game.
Looked at mine.
We looked at your upcoming game.
We're on the
all right.
If you look, we were on the marquee maneuver. Oh my! already.
That's where we're at. Marquee manure. We're going to start with Marquee, and I'm going to go before Brandon because we basically picked the same one, and you probably did too. It's hard not to pick Ravens at 49ers as the marquee game because they are both the 11-win teams. One of these teams is going to come out as the number one team in the NFL after this week. One of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever comes out as the winner has increased their quarterback's chance of being an MVP by
a lot.
this win. And so Ravens with Lamar Jackson and 49ers with Brock Purdy at 49ers. Is that right? This is in San Francisco?
Yep.
It's going to be quite a game.
Oh, yeah.
When does this one happen? Is this Monday night, Sunday night?
Monday night.
It's Monday night. So they make us wait to the very last game to see this one this week, of course. And that works out great for the NFL. I don't know. Did they already have this scheduled as the Monday night game or was that flexed?
I'm not sure. I believe so.
Because if they already had it scheduled, that
Kudos.
Either speaks to the fact that the script is working or that they got extremely good luck there with that, because that's Christmas Day. Christmas Day in the evening. What a treat. Ravens at 49ers. I don't know if my wife will think that's a treat or not, but hopefully that gets to be a treat in my house, or at least on my iPad by myself somewhere. If my wife doesn't want it on the TV on Christmas Day. But that's going to be a good game. We have, is that also yours, or did you have a different marquee? Oh my goodness.
I was deciding between two, and it was this. It actually decided between three. It was this one, Cowboys and Dolphins, which is another good game, and Jaguars and Buccaneers. And I chose Jaguars and Buccaneers, and a little to be different, a lot as a social media coordinator to be, content wise. But also because these teams are both of these teams are neck and neck with a lot of the other teams in their division for the division, and then if they lose for the wild card. So this is a very important game and a must-watch game for a lot of people for your team to pan out in the playoffs. If the Jaguars lose, the Colts have a better chance. If the Jaguars win, they have a less chance. If the Buccaneers win, the Buccaneers have a better chance of the division. But if they lose, these teams can jump them. You know what I mean? So this is a marquee game of marquee games for a lot of teams, not just the Buccaneers or the Jaguars.
I'm definitely excited about this game, and you might hear me talk about this game somewhere else. But yeah, Jaguars,
may not, like, the teams may not stick out like, oh, powerhouse team, great defense, great offense, but this is as many playoff implications as any game of this. Like, this is the most game with the most playoff implications this week, and that's why it's marquee.
Yeah. Hey, that makes sense. That makes sense. And I would love to see Trevor Lawrence still be out on concussion protocol. I'd love to see Baker Mayfield go in there, get us another win, put the Colts up in number one, have the Texans lose. We're getting way ahead of ourselves. Getting way ahead of ourselves. All right, let's look at manure games. We've already had your pre-shadow spoiler alert, but go ahead and tell us again.
I'll go into like a little bit, because I'll explain it a little bit more, but I expect that as my manure game is the Jets at Commanders. And just like I said earlier, whenever I was talking about it from a homer perspective, is the Jets have a good defense, but they're 32nd in offense. The Commanders have an okay offense. It just kind of like the Packers. It depends on how they play in the game, but they have a 32nd ranked defense. So that is not a good recipe for a good game. And that's why it's my manure, is because it's just not, it's the worst team on each side of the ball. It's not going to be a good game.
Yeah. I had originally written two games down for this to decide between. The first one was Washington versus Jets. I'm going to pass that one, even though I feel like that might be a little more manure-y. And I'm going to go on to those that might have a little higher pick in the draft. And that is Arizona, Chicago. Also probably not that exciting of a game. Neither one of them have the first overall pick. They're just kind of battling in that top five for who can lose. Neither one are super exciting at this point of the season, but the Bears would like to see if Justin Fields can continue to win. That's that right now. They're trying to decide, is he the guy? They're really trying to make that decision. Arizona, they have Kyler Murray back, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to lie. I've not watched many Arizona games this year. But anyway, I put that as I'm gonna hold that as my manure just so we have them covered. Those are two very manure-y type games. If you wanted to go like one of those lopsided games, I could see Seattle over Tennessee being kind of manure-y because Seattle beats them. Yeah, but we're not going to go with that. We're going to go Dallas. Dallas. We're going to go with Arizona over Bears. Let's go to the My Oh My games. My Oh My games. And man, I had two on this one as well. So maybe I should let you go first so that you can pick one and I can pick the other.
All right. So I mentioned one of my three choices for my new marquee game, really two choices because I knew these guys were going to predict Ravens and 49ers and content purposes and whatnot, and where it had to be different. So I was either Cowboys or Dolphins and Jaguars or Buccaneers. So I picked the other game as my game, Cowboys and Dolphins. I think
I knew you would do that. That was one of my possible My Oh My games, but let's hear why.
I will let you know that I had Cardinals at Bears at my manure game at first, and I was like, I think Matthew's going to pick that. So we're on the same page for a lot of these things.
we're tracking.
Yeah, but so Cowboys have a really good defense. They already locked for the playoffs. Dolphins are pretty much locked too. I mean, the percentage doesn't say so, but Dolphins have a very high-powered offense. So seeing these guys, these two teams in their respective sides of the ball, I guess, clash against each other is going to be a very good. Maybe it turns out to be a stalemate and it's like 10-3 at the end of the game, but I'm excited to see what the score will be just because of the great defense versus the great offense.
Yeah, I definitely have this as a game that I was possibly going to pick, but I'm going to foreshadow something. I picked this one for something later. So I went with New Orleans and LA Rams. Wow. They're both 7-7. This is for a playoff spot. They both have been looking better New Orleans has been a mystery to me. They kind of look good, then they don't look good, then they look good, then they don't look good. And they're kind of in that no man's land. LA started off looking so bad. I thought, oh my goodness, it's going to be a bad year. But then they started coming back, and now they're both sitting at 7-7, I believe. And so this becomes a game that is fighting for that maybe last playoff spot right now, maybe 6, maybe 7. And so that was my Oh My game of this week because I would like to see, and truthfully, I feel like the Rams are going to win that one. I feel like the Rams are going to beat New Orleans tonight. I'm just throwing that out there. So
I would like to say this is funny because Evan Ewens, y'all, the one that Evan Ewens,
yep,
Ewens all. This one,
Ewens all.
Evan, asked me to help him move after the podcast, which I said yes. And he was like, when he first asked, I was like, I can probably do it. It depends on what time though, because I don't. And I was like, I'll probably be able to help out right after I'm done with the podcast. I get off done talking to you or whatnot, because I don't expect any of these guys to pick Saints at Rams as any of their marquee my games. So I set the minute mark there so I could just go to this minute, take the clip and post it, and then go help him.
There you go. Well, unfortunately, he would like New Orleans to be the winner of that game, not the Rams.
Yeah,
which is not what I'm predicting. But I wouldn't be upset if the Rams. At this point, neither one of these teams matter to my team, nor to anything that matters to me. So if New Orleans wins, I'm good with that too. I just somehow feel like the Rams might win. If New Orleans wins, I'm all for it. So, okay, let's see. What else? Where are we at? That was the My Oh My. Now we're to the upsets. I'm going to start with this one because I already alluded to it. I think Miami is going to beat Dallas. I'm calling that an upset. Can you call that an upset when it's like a team that's sitting? What's Atlanta?
Like 10-3 each.
I mean Atlanta, Miami. Miami's sitting at 10-3.
Not 10. What is 11-4, something like that.
Here, I'm going to look just so I'm right. 10-4. They're both at 10-4.
Oh yeah.
They're both 10-4 teams. Can you call that an upset when they're both the same record and there's only two teams better than them in the whole NFL and they're going to be playing one another? Right now, that's kind of a weak upset. But I feel like Dolphins are going to get this done. They're going to get in. They're going to get that 99% up to 100%. If they win, they're only at 99%. Does that mean they can't go in with a win this week? They can't clinch?
I'm not sure. I think it depends on
other teams' wins.
Have a look.
He's going to look, but I'm going to say that I have not watched any of the in-season Hard Knocks yet. And I only have a little bit of time left on my free max preview. You know, I think I had 4 months. Actually, I think I paid for a month accidentally. So I have one more month and then I got to cancel it. So I don't end up paying again. But I'm going to watch all of those in season because that's going to be good stuff.
From my
with,
understanding,
the Dolphins.
They're 11-4. Sorry, or
10-4.
If they win, they're 11-4. So
Right.
what happened for them to clinch, and maybe they can't even clinch this week. I don't believe they can. The Bengals, Colts, Texans, Bills need to lose, because if they lose, they're all 8-7, and then the Rams, you know, at best they tie the record at 11-7 if they win out and the Dolphins lose out. And then that also the Bills losing would help them because of their division stuff. So if the Bills lose, they might have a better chance because of the division, and the Bills can only get to 11-7. But I believe if it would have to come till next week for them to actually clinch.
The Bills only could get to 11 if they win out.
I know.
They're at 8 right now, 9, 10, 11. They can only get to 11 wins if they win all 3. So that's why they, even with a win, are at 99%, because
probably.
But if the Bills lose, would they be? They would be in, right?
I'm not sure. I don't know if what their
because there's nobody else in their division. It's not Jets in New England. If the Bills lose, then they cannot take the division, right?
Sure. I'll find out. I'll show you my screen real quick and I'll let you know.
We got some volume stuff going on weird there. Oh, it's because you're bringing up another screen. I was going to say your voice was cutting in and out there.
So we have the playoff predictor thing So we need, what do we need? We need the Texans to lose out. The Bills, Browns already have a win. So let's just say they win. We need the Broncos to lose out too. That just doesn't matter. Bengals to lose out. Bills to lose out. Dolphins need to win. This one doesn't really matter. That one kind of matters. Doesn't matter. Actually, that matters. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Bang, 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 bang. All right. Let's just say that happens. This happens. This happens. So I think at this point they would clinch if they beat the Ravens. So I think it comes down to next week. It would come down to next week.
I see, because they could still.
So the Bills beat them
once. What?
The Bills beat them once. They already beat them. So that's why they have a chance. So they had the Bills and the Dolphins play week 18, but when the first time they met, the Bills beat them in week 4. So that's why they have not clinched yet, is because let me reset it real quick just so I can show the current standings.
What I understand is if the Bills lose this week, they cannot get to 11 wins, right? If they lose this week, they're at 8 wins.
The Bills have to win out, is what I'm saying.
Right, but if the Bills lose this week, do they clinch?
Oh, interesting. The Bills
if they win and the Bills lose.
Bills and Dolphins. The Bills have to lose. Dolphins have to win.
But they can clinch this week with that?
The division, yes. I believe so.
And that's all that matters, because once you win your division, you're in.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, it looks like they could clinch this week if the Bills, in fact, lose and they win. So all of that to say, I think Miami's going to beat Dallas. That's not really much. That's not a risk in the upset department, but it's where I'm going this week. What do you have for your upset this week, Josh?
I've mentioned it last week. I'm now 3-0. I'm almost a month straight with no losses on the upset streak or whatever. And I'm sorry, Brandon, but I think the Panthers upset the Packers. I think the Panthers expose the Packers' terrible defense.
Oh, that's an upset call. And if you're right on that one, I don't know if Brandon's going to be happy for your streak or upset for your streak.
I don't know. It's tough for him because
here's the weird thing. He's at that place where he could have a higher pick or make the playoffs. And so maybe he's ready for the higher pick if he doesn't think they're going to win out and make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And it's not just for them winning out. Other teams have to lose in order for them to get there. So maybe he's okay with this.
I will snake back to my lock real quick, which I think might be an easy lock for everybody, unless Antonio Pierce does something crazy. But I think the Chiefs are back on track a little bit. You know, they're starting to get back on track with a win after like 2 or 3 losses in a row, and I think they're a lock against the Raiders.
Okay, Antonio Pierce, you know, he's fighting for his job. He's 3-3. If he beat the Kansas City Chiefs, I'd go a little ways toward getting him there. So that's going to be an intriguing game. But you're right, Kansas City has proven to be a stronger competition team overall. My lock of the week, Lions over Minnesota, vaunting them into the playoffs.
Hey, what time does that game start? I gotta really look at that real quick. 12 on 7 p.m. Saturday. Oh wait, sorry. That is 12 p.m. on Christmas Eve. So, Brandon, if you're listening, Matthew, I know you're here. If you guys are around your phone at 3:15, 3 to 3:30 on Christmas Eve, make sure you're around because we're gonna be the first people to text that the Lions won their NFC North.
Okay. Yeah, I might leave that to you and Brandon. You guys are the fast texters. I'm always really late on that stuff. So I'll do my best, but you carry the ball for us, Josh.
Got it.
Okay.
I can probably, I'll take your, let me see if that might be tough, but I was gonna say I can take a text or something. You can, you know what, you text me right now and say the Lions won the NFC North and I'll just Photoshop it in there somewhere.
Oh man. So that's my lock of the week. I think the Lions will beat Minnesota. Who are they even at with quarterback? Is it still Nick Mullins?
I think so.
Yeah. I think the Lions are going to win that one, and that will be a good lock of the week. Is there anything we need to talk about?
I do have a couple things.
Yes.
I have not done the standings yet, but as mentioned last week, I won the ice cream, so I've not checked who's in second place because I've been busy with other things and really comprehensive decisions. So I will look, but whoever is in second place, the rule, I always thought the rule was that whoever, if anybody beats whoever's in first place and beats the Fandemic gets the ice cream. And Brandon kind of thought it was different. Whoever's in first place, and I guess I get the ice cream for winning the predictions or whatnot. So whoever's in second place, once I figure out the standings at some point, can take my ice cream. You can tell Brandon. And then secondly,
it's probably Abigail. That seems to be too close.
I think it was Abigail. So Abigail gets a perfect date with Brandon for some ice cream somewhere. Probably Culver's because they're coming back to Illinois. But second announcement, for all of you watching, there has been some issues on Twitter/X with the whole scheduling process. So you won't be seeing all the content as being posted because I don't know what Elon Musk is doing, but I have not been able to talk to him about it yet recently, but all of our stuff on TikTok is being scheduled as properly. So if you want to see all the content, all the clips that you might not be able to see because you had to leave early from the live stream or, only got to catch half of it, all that stuff, all those interesting stuff, like our game predictions, our marquee games, our MVPs, or anything interesting we talk about, like, I don't know, anything that
if we talk about anything interesting,
it's on the social media. So mostly our marquee games and our locks and our upsets, those have not been getting scheduled properly on Twitter, but they're all on TikTok. So if you have any interest, go check on our TikTok and you'll see all of our stuff. This
is bad news for Matthew Thomas, who will not download TikTok. Just can't do it. I have X, although Elon Musk is messing with things, I guess. Yeah. I'm a YouTube guy. So if all else fails, you can always go and watch the rest of the live stream on YouTube. Because it'll still be there.
It'll always be there, yeah.
It'll always be there. Old Google has not let us down, right? They're the ones that own YouTube. Or Alphabet, I guess you should say. I think
so, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, all right. Hey, guys, thanks so much for joining us today on the Football Fandemic. We can't wait till next week when we can hopefully say some more teams have locked and maybe
we won't be here next
one
week.
Of our home teams make a playoff push. Go Colts.
We won't be here next week.
Oh, not next week. A few weeks from now. And I let the music run out, but you know what? I'm just going to let it run out. Guys, we will not be here next week, so don't come to watch next week. And we're not even sure about the week after that, what's going to be happening. So if we don't see you for a few weeks, we still love you all here on the Football Fandemic. And I feel like I should start music again. Why not? Because we can. There's the music. We're going to go out of here telling you that we won't be meeting for a couple weeks, maybe, but we definitely love you guys. Watch some good football. Enjoy those Christmas Day games, and we'll see you all next time.